Alright guys, welcome to another G Auto Repair YouTube video. And today I'm going to be talking about air conditioning failure, a catastrophic failure, and why we need to do what we need to do. I've spoke about this on other videos. I got a video on flushing the system and whatnots. So this kind of goes in hand with that. Then why do we do that? Now when a customer comes to me with an AC problem, and I determined that it is an internal compressor failure. Now with these systems are a little funky because you have this valve back here. This is the refrigerant control valve. It has no clutch. This clutch is applied all the time. There's no electrical magnet here. This is how it regulates how much refrigerant goes in, and then the pressures, it gives a pressure. So if this fails, it will give you a similar problem as if it was an internal compressor failure. Now this is in fact an internal compressor failure because it is locked up. That is no given. Now because these are applied all the time, they put these shear pins in here that if it does lock up like it did in this situation, the shear pins will break off and this will continue to free spin, but the internal components of it will not. See, if you spin this, see that bolt doesn't spin, it stays solid there. That's because it's locked up. The shear pins have broken off. That's what it's designed to do. Now we look at this oil here. This is the oil that came from inside. Let me try to give you a better view. This is the oil that came from inside this compressor. Now what's to say that this, and this is just metallic shavings and stuff and whatnot, what's to say that this is not inside the system, the entire system? That's what typically happens. This junk gets circulated through the AC components, and I'm gonna show you here. I thought I had another one. Here it is. And the first thing it goes to is to the condenser. I apologize with this. My son got a hold of this and thought it was a good idea to stab it. Kids nowadays, I don't know, they got issues. Anywho, look how tiny those little holes are. Very, very tiny. Look at that. Not even a pin can go through that. Look at this one. This one was a more recent one. You can't even see the pins when you cut it. The little holes. Look at those little holes. Let me try to put them side by side so you can see. Look at that. Super tiny. These condensers become a filter. And all this junk, the first place it goes to is the condenser. And it starts to clog this up. So as per the standard, you don't just replace the compressor. You have to replace the compressor, condenser, receiver dryer or accumulator, depending on what system you got, the expansion valve or orifice tube, depending on which one you have. They really want you to replace the lines, everything, evaporator and everything. Now granted, an evaporator is a very, very expensive piece to replace because you got to tear apart the dash. What used to be done years ago was flush out at least the lines and the evaporator core, which is something that I still practice to today. Some may disagree with that. I've done it for years now with success, but it becomes harder and harder to flush out those components because of their flow, how they're designed. They say you'll never get everything out, which is true. I strongly believe that, but you flush it out with a approved solvent, and then you blow a lot of dry air through it. A lot. You got to get all the moisture out, and then do a very good extensive vacuum to boil the rest of it out. That's the only way you could do that. Unfortunately, that becomes an expensive repair. This compressor alone is at least $300, $400, $500 easy. Just the compressor. We're not talking about everything else. So once you start adding everything else, labor, supplies and whatnots, you start going up there. $1,500, $1,600, $1,700, $2,000, depending on what shop you go to. People don't want to hear that. People don't want to hear that. They just want to replace the compressor, get their AC going, and it will work. It will work. The question is how long it will work. That's the $1,000,000 question. And nobody has the answer to that. But look at that. This is supposed to be clear. Just for comparison, here is a bottle of PAG oil, new. I keep in a little squeeze bottle so, you know, it becomes easier to handle. Look at the difference. That's what it should look like, or like this if you have the dye in it. It should be clear, clean, transparent. Look at that. That becomes I don't know. That looks horrible. That looks horrible. So I already advised the client of this. They cannot afford, they just want to replace the compressor. This, as you can tell, is a rebuilt compressor. The reason it was replaced is because it was an accident. Now they say it didn't work. I don't know why it didn't work. I didn't do that job. I didn't do the initial repair. I'm not sure what is going on. All I know is that they got a rebuilt unit. It was installed by another technician, and here we are again. You know, I got a new line here because of the accident. The lines were severed, so they welded them. Something that it's a hit and miss when you weld these lines. And this part right here, they removed the crimp. They put a hose and some regular clamps, style like this, and that was the repair. To my surprise, the system still had pressure. To my surprise, she said this unit actually worked a day. I don't know what's gonna happen. They were forewarned. I said I will not be held responsible for anything that happens from this point. If it locks up again, it locks up again. But this is a problem. This system is not going to last. I can tell you that right now. I don't know. It may last a day, another day. It may last a couple weeks. It may last a year. I don't know. But that is not a good repair. So do with it what you will. But if you go to get an estimate for a compressor replacement, and the technician, the shop tells you, hey, we got to do ABC 1, 2, 3. This is why that has to be done. And sometimes it may not look this bad, but there's still metal shavings in that system. It can tear down the new one. So just a quick video I wanted to do on that, why it is that we have to replace and flush everything. Compressors cannot be flushed, receiver dryers can't be flushed, accumulators can't be flushed. You have to replace those items. No questions about it. So if you found this informative, please like and subscribe, ring the bell so you get notifications on future videos, and we'll catch you on the next video. Ciao.